Hey everybody, what's up? Stel Andre here. I'm pretty excited for this video because I think I might have just created the best patches for my axefx 3. If you've been following what I've been doing here on YouTube all these years, you probably know that I'm a huge guitar tone freak. Like I'm super interested in super high detailed and great guitar tone. And you know, having guitar heroes like John Petrucci, Andy Timmons, Matteo Cesato, Neil Schon, Steve Lukather, and so many more, you can tell how important guitar tone is for me. So what I created is a set of lead patches, and some of them are rhythm patches, and all of them sound amazing. So here's what I created. 3 low gain patches with the ability to go on scene 2 and bring more of a drive and more in-your-face tone. 1 clean patch with beautiful like shimmering chorus and delays and all that for like 80s type of clean chords. Imagine something like Dan Huff type of chord playing, all inspired by the 1980s. And then I created 5 modern high gain lead patches that you're gonna love. So in this video, I'm gonna start playing all the patches without any backing tracks, so you guys know how they sound straight out of my axefx. No editing, no EQ, nothing. I will just play the patches the way I've created them in my axefx. Also keep in mind that I've created them using the right guitars, meaning when I played the subtle, kind of like low gain patches, I used these beautiful Delos with my trusty single coil DiMarzio Cruiser pickups, the same way Andy Timmons does his job. And for all 5 modern lead and rhythm patches, I used my Keystone Kyber headless with the humbucker pickups. Now, without further ado, let me go straight to playing and let me showcase all these amazing patches. So this is my first patch. I named it Silky Lead. In this patch, I used the Fender Brown Face amplifier, which it's an old vintage amp, which is an amp that brings all that classic vibe in our tone, and specifically on a Stratocaster or a Telecaster, it really shines. So this is super subtle. It reminds me like Matteo Cesato type of playing, super low gain, very high in dynamics in your picking hand, and you can manipulate that using your volume knob. So you can go lower in volume, increase the dynamics under your pick, or bring up the volume and then increase the gain and the attack under the pick. So now I'm using the neck pickup. I'm gonna drop the volume to around 50% so you can hear how subtle this sounds and how close to like a classic Stratocaster tone. So let's check how that sounds. And now if I bring the volume up just a little bit, see how it bites? It's still the first scene, which means it's kinda clean-ish. Beautiful. And then if I just go to the split positions, it's still very subtle, like. Right? And then bridge pickup. Now if I take this patch and bring it to the scene 2, here's what you're getting. Beautiful, dynamic, bluesy, and it starts from low gain, subtle, and then you can bring this tone up ahead. So I don't know, I find it a great patch. Now let's go to my second sort of low gain patch. the Lonestar Smoothie Lead. On this one, I'm using the actual Mesa Boogie Lonestar amp, the same way Rthm does it. So this patch features a little bit more gain than the previous one. I find it closer to Rthm or like John Mayer or such type of playing. And it's a little bit more bluesy and more aggressive, but not too much. So I'm gonna play scene 1, which is a little bit more subtle. Again, very delicate to your volume knob, and it sounds best on single coil pickups, although it sounds great on humbuckers as well. Again, this is the first scene of my patch, and it sounds like this. Full volume, this is what you're getting. Now, if I lower the volume, this is what I'm getting. See the dynamics? Like, it's so delicate under the pick. That's all you need. Now, if I take this patch and go to the scene 2, here's the bluesiness you can get out of it. Now let's move on to the patch number 3. This is a patch based on my favorite VOX AC30 amplifier. This amp probably featured the most on my YouTube channel. I've played so many solos using this one. So here's what I'm doing here. I am using it on scene 1 as a low gain amp, and then on the second scene, I am adding a little bit of overdrive pedal in front of the amp and a little bit higher settings on the gain. And this is what you're getting in both cases. So this is scene number 1 on my VOX AC30 patch. And I'm really low on volume on my guitar, so you can hear how delicate that is. And now full on volume. It sounds so nice, so dynamic, so bluesy, and that was only scene 1. You can tell it's a little bit more overdriven than the previous scenes 1 on the previous patches. Now let's hear how this VOX AC30 sounds on the scene 2. It also brings a little bit of a fusion-ish tone. Like, I would use this one for like a fusion style. And now it's time for one of my favorite patches, the Dreamy Clean. This patch is inspired by Don Huff and all these beautiful, like, clean sort of dreamy chords with chorus that they used back in the 80s. I'm gonna use my Strat on my middle positions like 2, 3, and 4. Here's what you're getting. And now it's time to show you all the 5 modern lead patches. The first one that I'm going to show you is the modern Lead Rthm SLO88. This patch is based on the Soldano 88X, which is a really boutique high-gain amp that released in the late 80s, and it brings you all that vibe of the late 80s and early 90s super high-gain tone. Kinda reminds me a little bit of Steve Lukather and other 80s players. So this is scene number 1 with the lead patch. And now if I add a little bit of chorus, and the second scene of these pads is optimized for a little bit of more rhythmical playing. The second lead patch is the Soldano SLO100. This is the most iconic lead amplifier out there. So here's how the scene 1 sounds like, now without the chorus, and then I add a little bit of it. And now with an 80s style chorus. Now for my next lead pads, I use the Friedman HBE 100. I really love how this amplifier sounds like. It's so dynamic, so in your face, so loud, such a unique sound when you do pinch harmonics. I love it. Again, I'm gonna try to play with and without chorus so you can get an idea. This is without chorus, then I will add some. And then on the scene 2, I will be playing some rhythmical stuff because on the scene 2, I dialed more like a rhythm section of this amplifier. So let's see how the scene 1 sounds like without the chorus. Now the same Friedman pads with a little bit of chorus. And now the scene 2 for a little bit more of a rhythmical playing of this Friedman patch. Now the next patch is one of my favorites. This is based on my all-time favorite guitar player, which is John Petrucci. For this one I use the MESA JP2C Plus amplifier, the same that John Petrucci uses. And this is the lead tone. It's a combination of John Petrucci and a little bit of my style. This is scene 1. And scene 2 is the rhythm section of these pads, and it sounds so close to John Petrucci. Check this out. And the last pads is based on the EVH5150. This is a rhythm pads on the first scene and then a lead pads on the second scene, which is the same amp with a little bit of delay. So this is the rhythm pads of the 5150. And here's the same pads with a little bit of delay. I know it's not an ideal amp to solo all the time, not to me at least, but this one with a little bit of delay, it sounds like this, and it's pretty good. That was the end of my demo of my axefx 3 patches. You can download them by clicking the link down below in the video description or the one that I'm going to be putting up here in the corner. Quick disclaimer, I created these patches using my axefx 3, but if you have an FM9 or an FM3 unit, these patches should be playable. What I've noticed is that the turbo versions of the FM9 and FM3, they can handle the axefx 3 patches a little bit better. I use the latest firmware on my axefx 3 to create these patches. Make sure you have also upgraded your FM or axefx unit to the latest firmware update. So that was it. Hope you enjoyed it, you guys. I cannot wait to see some of your clips or videos or solos using my patches. feel free to tag me so I can see them, and I hope you will enjoy them as much as I will. Until next time, take care.